In the last 3 days of training, you learned how to retrieve, send, and handle data. In this video, you will learn about the formatter classes that you can use to format this data for display. Here's the Employee Portal Vehicle Request Form application before I apply any formatters. When I click on one of the date chooser components, the date in the alert dialog is formatted with the day and month abbreviated strings. I want to change the format so that it displays all numbers like this. I will also show you how to apply a phone formatter. Before I apply the formatter, I can type letters into the phone field, and when I type 10 digits for the US phone number, nothing happens to fix the display. After I apply a formatter, it will no longer accept text entry. When I type in a 10-digit number and then click away, the number is formatted appropriately. The formatters are components used to format data into strings. The formatter class declares a format method that takes a value and returns a string. You will generally want to trigger a formatter just before you display the data. There are both MX and Spark formatters that are implemented similarly. Here is a list of the available Spark and MX formatters. You should use the Spark formatters whenever possible. Spark formatters are designed to take advantage of locale-specific formatting of dates, times, numbers, and currencies. This enhances your ability to create globalization-ready applications and is made possible through the globalization APIs available in Flash Player 10.1 and referenced through the flash.globalization package. Spark formatters give you access to the locale settings in the operating system on the actual device, while MX formatters are limited to locales provided by the Flex SDK or created by the developer. The details of locale implementation are outside the scope of this course. While the formatter classes do affect the visual display of data, they are not actual visual objects themselves. Therefore, in order to create an instance of the formatter class, you must place it in the declarations code block where all non-visual elements are added. When you are ready to use the formatter, you will call its format method. All formatter subclasses have a format method. Each formatter subclass has specific properties to customize the string presentation. Here is the Spark currency formatter class, which formats a valid number as a currency value. You can adjust the currency symbol, decimal formatting, locale, and more. You can also place a currency symbol, which is a $ by default, on the left or right side of the number using the currency symbol property. This currency formatter instance displays a $ but aligns it to the right of the dollar amount. The Spark DateTime formatter class has fewer properties. The DateTime pattern property defines a pattern string or mask for how the date will be formatted. I will discuss that further in a minute. This is the starter file for the example. Remember that all the UI elements in the application are created in the Vehicle Request Form custom component, which is the view in our MVC implementation. The form includes some form components, including these two date chooser instances. They are named pickup date and return date, respectively. At the beginning of day 2, you registered change events on both of the controls that call the date change handler function, which is right here. The date is referenced and displayed through the event object, which is event.target.selectedDate. Next, I will create a date formatter and apply it to that display. So inside the declarations block, I am creating a date time formatter instance with an ID property value of request date formatter. All formatters contain pattern strings specific to the data displayed. This help information shows the date-time formatter class in the flash.globalization package. Specifically, I am looking in the public methods for the setDateTime pattern method. When I click on it, you can see the acceptable pattern strings for the date formatter class. You create a pattern for the date display by using the specific letters listed here. For instance, YYYY will format the year as a 4-digit number. Capital M will produce the month as a number without a preceding 0. Lowercase dd will produce the day of the month with a preceding 0. You specify the pattern string in the datetime pattern property of the datetime formatter instance. I'm adding the datetime pattern property to the datetime formatter instance with a value of mm-dd-yyyy. To apply the formatter to the date, I am locating the date change handler and wrapping the event.target.selectedDate.toDate string value with the request date formatter.format method. I'm saving the file and running the application. You can see that the date is now formatted as expected when I click on a date in the calendar. Now I will add a formatter for this mobile phone number field. Here's the help information for formatting phone numbers with the phone formatter class. You can see that you can use the # as the designator for the numbers and then add other characters like the parentheses or dash or periods. I will implement this formatter with the parentheses. I will also add a dash between the numbers. In the declarations block, I'm adding a phone formatter instance with an ID property value of phone field formatter and a format string set to a standard US phone format. I want to trigger this formatter after the user has typed the number in the mobile phone field and then has clicked outside of it or removed focus from it. I'm adding a focus out event to the mobile phone text input control, and I'm using Flash Builder to generate the handler. In the handler, I'm going to replace the mobile phone.text property value with the phone field formatter.format string. Specifically, I will format the mobile phone.text value and then apply it back to itself. I'm saving the file and running the application. When I type the 10 digits for the US phone number and then click outside of the text field, you can see that the formatter is properly applied. If I delete the phone number from the mobile phone field and type 555 and remove focus from the field, you can see that the text I entered is deleted from the field. This happens because the formatter returns a blank field when the input is invalid. The only valid string is a 10-digit number without any characters. Now I will show you how to add a custom validation check to return an alert message if the input to the formatter is invalid. Back in the mobile phone focus out handler, below the mobile phone formatter, I am typing if and then pressing Control Space twice to show a list of code templates with Content Assist. I'm selecting the if statement template. I will check to see if the text entered into the mobile phone field is invalid by adding phone field formatter format.error as the conditional check for the statement. Within the conditional statement, I'm adding the alert.show method to display the text phone format error, and then concatenating the phone field formatter.error. I'm saving the file and running the application. When I type 555 into the mobile phone field and remove focus from the field, the formatter still returns a blank field because the number I entered was invalid, but an alert message also displays indicating that I entered an invalid string. You can use what you've learned here to apply a formatter to the office phone field. For your next step, work through the exercise titled Using Formatters.